Hey guys, so in this video I'm going to be giving you 10 kind of intermediate to advanced tricks and tips to use with the Meyer method on 4x4. The whole time I'm just going to be going through a solve. Hopefully I'll get all the cases I'm looking for in this, but if not, I'll just cut it and change up the case. So we'll look around. So my first tip is for your first two centers, you want to plan it in an inspection and be pretty much 4 out of 6 color neutral, because the thing is, you have to start with one of your block colors, but why would you restrict yourself to just 2 blocks when you can expand and do any of 4 blocks? So I see for this one, everything's kind of bad. There's no free centers. But if I do, no free bar, but if I do an F wide like that, what happens is I get this red bar on the top and the bottom. So if I just do F wide, then what's going to happen is I'm going to be able to these two setups so I can solve them at the same time. And this one I noticed when I do an L2, it's going to pair there. So the whole thing for this would be F wide, L wide prime, U prime, L. And I know those two are paired now, so I can just go like that. So there's that. My second tip is about first block efficiency. So you want to use a lot of free kind of block building. Sometimes what I find myself doing is just building pairs, building the edges first and then attaching the corner. But what you can do is actually attach the corner to the edge separately. So see, if we have this pair, what you can actually do is pair the corner with the edge first, then pair the edges up. And here I need to make the DR edge now. So what I can do is these two like that, and there's that block. And for the other one, it's these two, so I can just go like this and pair them up like that. So there's a lot of kind of tricks you can use with this, orders of solving different pieces. You can solve like 2 corners and edge, 2 edges in the corner, this corner and that edge, and then the third edge. You can solve lines like this. You can solve like a 3/4 line. So just play around with that and you'll find a lot of cool combinations. For your last 4 centers, there's not really anything much advanced you can do here. I recommend using half centers when you can and when it's good. Actually, one thing I like about centers with Meyer is that since you have to place the corners for your first block, you're going to always get the orientation right. So you can't really mess up your centers because you see like blue, white. So you just set up your half centers. That was kind of bad, whatever. And then this type of thing can be useful. Like if you know there's a edge there, instead of going down and then doing that, you can just put it in at the same time. And for the back, you should always be thinking about what can be there. For this case, it's kind of hard to know whether the white one is here or there, but like, how do you set this up? If you have something like this, there's no reason to peek at the back because you know the blue bar has to be there, so you can just go like that. My fourth tip is about the last cross edge, even though we don't have a cross, but in Yao, what people do is they put their cross edge here, and then they'll rotate and do their E-slice edges. But with Meyer, you're not really restricted, so you can solve any edge at all, and just place it here. So sometimes there's a skip, so you just don't even need to do anything. Other times, you can just solve the first thing you see. So the first thing I can see right now is these two, so I can just go like that, and then I can rotate and start my edge pairing. And this is my kind of fifth tip, is to try E-slice pairing and to try like R-wide pairing and E pairing, because I guess different people are going to like different things. But no matter what you pick, I recommend using 3-2-3, where you do 3 edges first, and then 2 edges and then 3 edges. So the way that would work is first you slice, and then you look at this edge, insert that edge there. Look at this edge, find the one that matches, it's already there, good. Look at this edge, look at the one that matches, oh, it's there, so that's not good, so then we finish. Now we want to solve this with this, so we pair it, and then bring the edge that matches with this one, and put it here, like that. And here's, then the last 3, what's going to happen is, once you just do a 2 pair, the same way you just did, but when you solve it, the last edge is going to solve, just like that. And here's one of the cases that you can get for last 3 edges. You'll actually end up with 2. And what you can do is either insert them both like this, so they're facing each other kind of, and slice, flip, slice back. But what I find to be better than that, is to use an algorithm when they're both on the top, so you don't have to do 2 insertions. I learned this from Chris Olsen. He has a cool video on this. So you just do that algorithm on the 3x3 that solves this case, you just do that, but with the wide moves. So that's the one that solves this. And then the inverse of that, so R2D, that's the one that solves when one of the edges is flipped. When they're both facing the same way, you do that one. And then your edges will be solved. So now move on to the second block. So here you just want to be as efficient as possible, normal stuff. But one thing you want to look out for is on the last pair, you want to start thinking about your centers, where they are, and your edges, what edge is going to end up in the bottom. So for this one, I know that this solution is going to be r wide u, r wide prime, u2, r wide u, r wide prime, or r prime at the end. So I know that during that whole thing, this edge won't move, and it's just going to come up here at the end because I'm going to end with a r prime, so they're going to be an odd number of wide moves. So while I'm doing this, I'm going to peek at this, okay? And I'm also going to peek at this and trying to figure out what edge is going to end up in the back because that's not going to be visible, and that'll help me predict if I have OLL parity or not. So r wide u, r wide prime, u2. Okay, so I see this edge is the one that's going to end up in the back. So it's going to be oriented. Okay, so now I know I have 3 misoriented edges because I know that one's oriented, so I have parity. And here I'll just do this parity algorithm. I do it before CMLL because it's the fastest one, just like that. And that actually leads into my my seventh tip, which is about OLL parity. What you can actually do is perform the algorithm from different angles so it gives you a better CMLL. So if you recognize parity and CMLL at the same time, for this case, obviously this is just the standard, this is going to skip, so why would you do it from anywhere other than this angle? So if you just do it here, it skips your CMLL. It goes beyond that, so instead of just doing that one skip case, what you can actually do is memorize what angle is the best angle to do the alg from. So for example, for the pi case, if I do it from this angle, I'm getting a bad CMLL. This angle is a bad CMLL. This angle is a lefty Nicholas. This angle is a righty Nicholas, so I'll prefer this one. And there we go, I got a righty Nicholas. So just going through your cases and trying to see which angle is the best could be beneficial. I think eventually I'm going to put a page together where I just have the list of the best angles to do each alg from. And yeah. So for your CMLL algs themselves, I found that RUD algorithms like RUD and RWide UD can be pretty hard. So I'd recommend using RUF algs if you can. For something like this, I found that that's pretty hard to do and it can be kind of inconsistent. So instead what I tend to do is just the RUF algorithm. My next tip is about LSE. So I think EOLR is really vital because M moves aren't the best on 4x4. They're not that bad, but you just want to be as efficient as you can. So knowing your EOLRs is very beneficial. And my last tip is about parity. So what you want to do is an influence parity so you get it on top. An easy way to recognize it is if you look at your cycles. So I see these two are opposite, and usually what happens is this case is supposed to be green. So if you just look around the cube and try to think about what's going on, which pieces need to switch, eventually you'll get really good at figuring out what's going on with the cube. So here I see if I do a U2 right here, that I can force the parity on top, and usually I'll end up where the top is a U2 off, so then I can do the algorithm and then not have to adjust to the top. Oops. Because if I had started from a U2 away, from a LR solved, I'd have to do a U2 at the end, but I cancelled and made sure it ended up like this so that I could just do a 6-move algorithm instead of 7-move one. Thanks for watching. Hopefully these tips have been useful.